Rather than make you guys spend a ton of money on getting a research book that I'm not happy with, I'm going to be writing my own research methods book. Hooray! And you guys are going to be my guinea pigs. So you will get the readings posted online. Have all of you been on Canvas? Okay, so this course I can't navigate with the mouse, so I can't really show you. But this course is going to be held in class and on Canvas. So on Canvas right now, there's a welcome page, and it says, welcome, you don't have to buy a book. Oh, here, read the syllabus. And then you can click the link and get the syllabus. I decided to save some paper, so I don't have paper syllabi for you guys right now, but you can go on to Canvas and download one for yourself and print as many copies as your paper-hating, tree-hating butts like. Anyway, so the syllabus is online on Canvas. Every class day, we're going to have a reading that we're going to discuss in class, maybe do some exercises or other things. So the reading for the class will be posted after the class, before the class is due. So there's no reading for today. There will be a reading for Wednesday, and that reading will be posted by this evening. By this evening, also, that video should be up online. There are several gradable components. One is going to be discussions, another is going to be quizzes, and the third is going to be tests. So quiz, tests, and discussions. All of these, in order to try to make the online and in-classroom experience equivalent, so that way everyone who's paying is getting the same type of experience, all of those things are going to be done online. So the quizzes that you guys are going to take, online. The tests that you guys are going to take, it's online. The discussion boards that you're going to need to participate in, all online. So each week we're going to have one quiz. 10 weeks, 10 quizzes. Each quiz is worth 10 points, so 10 times 10, that's 100 points total for the quizzes. What I do, I understand that everyone has a bad week. Some people have more than a bad week, but to try to allow for a bad week, I'm going to drop the lowest quiz from the computation of your grade. So I will grade you on 9 quizzes, your best 9, and scale that up to 100 points. So if you get, say your average is a 7.3 on your best 9 quizzes, the quizzes in total are worth 100 points, so you'll get what? 73. You'll get a 73 then for your quiz score. Similarly, with discussions, each week there's going to be one discussion. The discussion is also going to be worth 10 points per week. I will drop your worst discussion. So if you get an 8.4 on the average for your 9 best discussions, what will your grade out of 100 points be for discussions? 84, that's exactly right. There will be 3 quizzes, I'm sorry, not 3 quizzes, 3 tests. So the tests will be 50 points, multiple choice, and I construe the word multiple choice broadly. So like true or false, 2 choices, it's multiple. It might be matching, like here, but there are multiple things you could choose from. So they will be like that. No essays. I'm really not a big fan of essay tests. I used to give essay tests, and this one semester, this was at a different university, and I gave this test, and my students just bombed it. Not everyone. I mean, a couple people did all right. But I was just appalled by the performance on the test, and I was like, good grief. There are people leaving blanks for the test. And this one person, oh, I got in big trouble for this. They left it blank, and they were failing the course. And I wrote in their blank, I said, this is BS. If you don't put anything, you're going to get a 0. At least put something. And then they talked with my chair, and I got in trouble for saying BS. I didn't actually use the word bull. I just said BS, but they figured out what I meant. Anyway, so I wanted to see something. I thought, you know, maybe these students that aren't putting any answer down, if I gave them multiple choices, they could do better, because just check a box. A monkey doing it randomly should get a 1 1/4 chance if there are 4 right answers, right? This will be better. Anyway, so I gave a pot redo test the next class. Basically all the same questions, but in multiple choice format, and I found out the results were, what do you think? No, it was about the same damn thing. You know, maybe if I told them I'm going to ask you the same questions in a different format, the grades would have improved, as they would have known that the test was coming, they would have engaged in different studying, but I didn't want that to happen. I just wanted to see what they really knew, and it turned out that they didn't really know all that much. Anyway, that is not a reflection on them, that's a reflection on me bad teaching and all that jazz. Anyway, so I figured, well, why do I want to waste my time like reading this long thing? And you know, some are brilliant, I'm sure yours would be brilliant, but some are just BS and they're just throwing in words, hoping to get one right. And I can get almost exactly the same information from a tough multiple choice quiz or test. So on my quizzes and tests, you will see questions that have multiple correct answers, and the answer is not which is the correct one, but which is the best one. And this requires a bit of critical thinking. And a lot of students don't like this because they're like, but this is correct. And I'm like, yes, but that one's better. So think about the quizzes and the tests. Another thing, because they are online, the quizzes have no time limit. So once the quiz is up, you can start the quiz. You've got a kid, you've got a dog, you've got a dump. You can go do those things, and then come back later and finish up the quiz, work on it, and read your book, look at your notes, go on the discussion board. Maybe there's a question that you're like, what is going on? I don't understand it. You can discuss the questions on the discussion board to get a better insight into how maybe other people are looking at it. On the discussion board, you shouldn't say, this is the right answer to question number 2. Obviously, that puts your peers at an unfair advantage. So unless you want to screw yourself, I would not recommend doing that. Also, there's a bit of an academic integrity issue as well, which if it happens repeatedly, I will start nailing you guys. Anyway, you're free to discuss the quiz questions. What do you think about this? Well, Dr. Knapp said this in the class, so that seems to go along with this answer, right? That's not saying that this is the correct answer or that this is wrong, but it's discussing them. So you can discuss the quiz questions before you submit the quizzes. I'm totally cool with that. In fact, I think it's a pretty darn good strategy. The tests, they're also online. The tests are timed. So you'll have 60 minutes to complete 50 questions. Although there are 50 questions, each question will be worth 2 points, so each test will be worth how many points? 100 points, right. So there's discussions for 100, quizzes for a total of 100, and then 300-point exams. The exams, as I mentioned, they're timed. I used to have them proctored, but then some of my online students were having trouble finding proctors, and it was a financial burden, and I didn't want to deal with that, so I said, open book, open notes. And my students went, yay! And then they took the exam with the intent that, like, oh, it's open book, open notes. I can take my time, I'll look up everything, and they, like, bombed. Not everyone, but a large number of them. So don't go into the open book, open notes test thinking like I have plenty of time to go through it and look for my answers and Google things, because you're not going to have the time. You're going to have time maybe to do that for a couple questions that you're shaky on, but if you have the thought in mind that you're going to do that normally, it's not going to work. One of the things that really surprised me is in my intro class, typically I give a 100-question multiple choice test in an hour. So 60 minutes, 100 questions. And when I did my open book, open notes, 50 questions, 60 minutes, like students did worse with open book, open notes than they did in the classroom setting. And I think it has to do with a different strategy. People, when they come into the class and they know they don't have open books, open notes, they prepare as if they're not going to have open books, open notes. They try to memorize things. They try to relate things to other concepts that they're going to be able to retrieve easily in a testing environment. I would highly recommend that you do the same type of preparation that you would do for any exam for these open book, open note exams. They are open book, open note, open internet, but they are not open call your friend. So if you guys are both taking the class and you guys are friends and you guys want to like, hey, what are you doing on number 2? Or I am a cognitive psychologist, but perhaps more than that, I am an experimentalist. And I'm a bit of a stats geek. And I can detect cheating, not all the time. You might get lucky, but I can pick up on it. I'll tell you how, because then that will got my ability to pick up on it. But anyway, so open book, open notes, open internet. No, call your friend. No, take it right next to your friend. Actually, you can take it next to your friend, but no looking on the other screen. Come on, we're adults. I'm sure you guys don't told that. Sorry. Anyway, groovy? So how many points are there total within the course? 500, that's right. So there are going to be 500 points in total for the course. And the way that I grade is based on, I guess, a sort of traditional scale with one exception. So I don't give out A minuses. Don't. As a student, A minuses were my bane. I would study hard for my classes. And sometimes I would get A's, and sometimes I would get A minuses, and sometimes I would get A pluses. And what happens when you have a grade and you have one A plus and one A minus? What's the GPA? Is it an A? No! So that A minus is like, an A plus doesn't hold you up, and so poop on that. No, A minuses. I give pluses and minuses for B's and C's. D's I give pluses for. I don't think they get the minuses. But so if you get a 90 or above, you get an A. You get an 87 to 89.5 because I do round. So 87 to 0.49999 repeating, you have a B plus. So then 83 to 86.9 or 0.49999, you get a B. 80, or I guess the 79.5, those would be the real limits if you know about the stats. Anyway, whatever. So you can look at the syllabus. It's got the breakdown for exactly what you need. And I do that not only because I think the A minuses are a horrible travesty. I also use it as an incentive to get you guys to push a little bit harder if you are near the cusp of getting that A, because it can pull you up not just from a B minus to an A, or from a B plus to an A minus, but all the way up to a solid A. So that's a gift to you. Also, as a gift to you, I offer a final exam. The final exam is cumulative. The other exams are not cumulative. So the first exam will cover the material from weeks 1 through 3. The second exam will cover materials week 4 through 6. And then the third normal exam will cover 7 through 10. The final exam covers everything. It's only 100 multiple choice questions. It's based off of the previous quizzes and exams. There will be some changes in questions and things. But my optional final, as I just said, optional final is optional. You do not have to take it. That said, I would recommend that anyone who's not already getting an A, take it, because it will not hurt you. The way that I use the optional final is I will take your worst 100-point component and I will replace that with the final, assuming that you do better on the final than on that thing. So let's say you get like an 82 on your quizzes, and I don't know, a bunch of 80s, 90s, whatever's on your exams, but you hate discussions, you're antisocial, and you just don't want to deal with people. So you post nothing throughout the entire semester. That's okay. Take the optional final, you get your grade on that, that 0 goes bye-bye, and whatever you got on the optional final replaces that. If you are sick for an exam, which really shouldn't be that big of a deal since you guys can take it online, and you'll have a week from when I post it to finish it. So hopefully you'll be able to do that. But let's say that something crazy happens. We don't need to worry about like, oh, makeup test or this or that, because you have the optional final. Great. That said, I would encourage you to take the test anyway, even if you won't be getting credit for it. Let's say you take it. I had some student last semester who decided not to like do anything in the class until after the first exam, when I suggested that they drop the class. But instead, they dropped their first exam by taking the optional final. So the optional final can replace your worst exam. It can replace your discussion. It can replace your quizzes, whichever of your 100-point components is worst, if the optional final is better. Optional final is worse, no big. Because of that, I think some students, they're like, oh, I don't need to study for the optional final. And every semester I get students who don't do better on the optional final than the worst, which is sort of surprising to me unless they're not studying at all. The optional final, because it's based on the previous test, I mean really, it is seriously based on the previous test. If I ask you about an extraneous variable in one of the tests, and there are other options like independent variable, dependent variable, confounding variable, maybe I'll ask you about the confounding variable on the final. So lots of times I'll use the same answers because I'm lazy, and laziness is what gave us the automobile and the microwave. So I reuse questions with little minor tweaks. Instead of like does, I will say does not. But you'll see a lot of repetition of the answers to see if you guys can really distinguish between the underlying concepts. Does that make sense? Optional finals, again. You're welcome. All right. My office hour, or my office is there, across the hall, Badgley 149. I'm in between Dr. Timmerman and Dr. Lyons. Hopefully some of you guys have been back there before. I'll be holding office hours between 8:30 and 10:30 in the morning, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I can come in for other times. If you guys can't make those times, some of you are going to have classes, athletic events, whatever. If I don't have scheduled office hours at a time you would like to come in and see me, shoot me an email. An email is the best way to contact me. Although don't send me an email through Canvas. Many of you guys sent emails through Canvas? There's like this, big Canvas page, and then up there's this tiny little icon. And it's not like Facebook where it's like red and it's like, oh, you have a new message. It's like, so I will go weeks sometimes without noticing that I have an email sitting for me in Canvas. But if you email me at my email address provided on the syllabus, if you're really interested in writing it down now, you can. It's W for William, K-N-A-P-P, that's my last name, at eou.edu. So wnap.edu or .eou.edu, something like that. That's my email. So if you have questions, you want to set up an outside time, that's the way to do it. Phone, probably not the best way to contact me there. Use email instead. Questions? Office hours, location. We're going to be meeting in here until we get kicked out. No? Does everyone have paper? Good. If you don't have paper, you can raise your hand and I'll come and give you a little tear off. Hopefully you all have some writing utensils. So what I would like you to do is write down something that you know. Oh, I should mention, there's one oddity on the syllabus. Something that I consider odd, which takes a lot. So if you look at the syllabus, when it talks about the days and like weeks and what things we're going to cover, you'll notice that this week it says introduction, and then for the other weeks it's like, so I have this big long list of topics that we're going to cover in the syllabus. But I'd sort of like to approach this organically. We are going to talk about correlations, we're going to talk about t-tests, we're going to talk about ANOVAs, and the research methods that go along with those things. Because this is a research methods class, not a statistics class. We'll talk about stats, because it's important. Methods and stats are like this. You've got to have the other if you're going to have one. Anyway, so we're going to talk about mixed designs, and within subjects designs, and between subjects designs, and the difference between descriptive research versus relational research versus causational research. We're going to talk about lots and lots of different things, tons of different types of validity, internal, external, population, ecological, construct, concurrent, predictive, lots and lots and lots of different validities. You might want to start a validity sheet so you can have an easy reference guide, because there are a bunch, and a lot of them are fairly closely related. But anyway, so I have this big list of stuff that we're going to cover, probably most of it, if not all. And there might be some other things that we're going to throw in. I have a rough idea of where I'd like to go and how I'd like to go there, but since I'm not using a textbook and I'm not bound by those chains, I'd like to let this sort of grow a little bit more organically, so if something comes up in class that is related to a particular methods design, then we can spend the next class going over that as opposed to something else. Hopefully that will be a greater benefit than not. Okay, so I just did it while you were writing things down. It's called inattentional blindness. Are any of you guys familiar with Dan Simon's research? have this like gorilla come in, bouncing the ball. So I used to do this when I was a graduate student, when undergraduates were taking their exams, and I had a proctor. I'd get up in front of the class and I would dance or air jam, because none of the undergrads had any clue, but my friends who were also proctoring, they got a big kick out of it. All right. Oh, this is an interesting first go. I know that Hitler's mental illness started after his fighting in World War II. When did Hitler die? Lots of things depend on wording, so I'm not making fun of anyone here. But wording is a really big thing, so if I type something up and you're like, what the heck does this mean, since it's something that I'm writing as opposed to someone else, you can let me know that it doesn't make any sense, and then I can try to explain things better. So I was thinking that Hitler died in World War II, and depending on how you consider his fighting, I mean, as the leader of a country, I consider all the actions of his army to be his fighting. So I would say he was dead after his fighting in World War II. But okay, so in here there's this implied idea that Hitler was mentally ill. How do you know that? I'm not asking the person who said this, but like, how would one? And you were raising your hand. If you were going to take ownership, that's fine. But if not, you don't have to.
That was supposed to be World War I.
World War I. Okay. All right. World War I. That makes a lot more sense. So how would you know that Hitler was mentally ill?
Diagnosis.
Okay. Diagnosis. What do they use to diagnose Hitler's mental illness? Is this the DSM-5 or DSM-4?
Probably DSM-1.
You know, my history of psychology has something left to be desired, but I would be surprised if the DSM-1 was around back then. So, how would you know whether or not Hitler had mental illness?
He killed a lot of people, including himself.
So he killed a lot of people, including himself. People who kill a lot of people, including himself, have mental illness. I loved his response. Maybe.
Sounds good.
My wife used to hate that because I'm a big maybe kind of guy. I understand probability fairly well. And so she'd say like, oh, hey, let's do this on Friday. Maybe. I was honest. Didn't mean that I didn't want to. It just meant, I don't know. And when I was in Turkey, there's this phrase, it's an Arabic phrase, inshallah. You guys know what that means? Inshallah. So it means God willing. And this is a very popular phrase, and I adapted this very quickly. And people would be like, hey man, you want to do this? Inshallah. And depending on how you would use it, in what context, it would mean like, yeah, I really want to. Hopefully God will allow this to happen. But in other contexts, it was like, absolutely not unless God makes me. But I thought it was great because either way, it reflected this probabilistic thing. So, okay, so he killed a lot of people. He killed himself. Maybe he was mentally ill. I was going to say he probably wouldn't have done too well when they caught him. Maybe that was a big choice. Genie code wasn't written then. He had no guarantees that he wouldn't be tortured, and even now, with the Genie code in place, those guarantees aren't necessarily as strong as one would like. I know my grandfather was president of Eagle Computers and worked with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. How would one know this? Your grandpa told you that. Did your grandpa lie to you? You have to have evidence. What?
Pictures.
Picture of Grandpa, Eagle Grandpa, I'm going to call him. Picture of Eagle, not Eagle, not Hitler. Picture of Eagle Grandpa with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. Oh yeah, look at that. Do we know that he was president of that computer company and worked with those people? from that picture and from a statement? Might be documented somewhere, but not in that picture. Because he could have just been one of those fanboys or girls who's like, picture, right? Yeah, I was doing selfies way back. My vanity. Lovely, lovely. Okay, so what type of evidence do you require? The picture isn't good enough, and the person's claim isn't good enough.
I like to have like official signed document.
Official signed
It
documents.
could be like, well, not officially signed for that situation. It'd have to be like a record of past presidencies.
Okay, so you maybe go into Eagle Computers archives,
This one is
or if
so
Eagle
I feel
Computers.
like you should ask whoever.
I don't want to put anyone on the spot, because there might be someone in here with something that they really don't want to admit to.
Well, I don't want to do that.
But so we could look at documents, right, of Eagle Computer, and we could look and see who the founders were, and who the presidents were, and what individuals that they worked with, right? Let's look and see if we have anything. Ooh! Correlation doesn't always mean causation. That's very appropriate for this class. How do you know that?
Because you guys tell us it constantly.
So, we, I'm assuming like psych faculty, maybe other STATSy type of people, bio people will tell you the same thing. Yeah, she knows. So, we tell you this stuff. Someone's grandpa told them, yeah, I was president of Eagle Computers, and I worked with these people. How did you learn that Hitler killed people and killed himself?
History book.
History books, which were written by
People that won.
people. Well, people that won. Maybe not. There are some history books by the losers too, which adds a bit of perspective. Sorry, another tangent on Turkey, but I thought like America was super patriotic, like go Washington, go Lincoln, hoorah. And then I got over there and everything's like, yeah, the church, the founder of the modern Turkish Republic, and it's like, wow, this patriotism everywhere. And the history books are very different. My son, for a holiday, he bought me a statue, not a statue, like a paperweight that had a picture of Ataturk in it. I asked him who it was, and he told me it was Ataturk. And I said, what did Ataturk do? He told me that Ataturk saved the world. I thought, they're doing an excellent job of indoctrinating their children. But people are telling you this stuff, right? So correlation doesn't always mean causation. How do you know this? Someone or lots of people told you this. How do you know that Hitler killed a lot of people? You watched it on something that was produced by a ton of people. Maybe you saw something that is more substantial than just words on a page, right? So perhaps you saw a picture of Hitler giving out proclamations to do things, right? Or you saw signed documents by Hitler, right? But a lot of the things that we think we know are things that are other people have told us. Here's one. I know a lot about LeBron James. So this is sort of like a metacognition type of thing. It's not something that you know, but it's something that you know, right? So I know that I know a lot about LeBron James. We can go back and reverse the loop. I'm guessing that some of this stuff are things that people have told you. I'm guessing that some of this stuff are things that people have watched. You guys watch basketball? Sparingly? Football? Baseball? Any sport? Soccer. Yeah, real football. Lionel Messi. Is that you? I'm looking at you. Whoa. Not yet. Although maybe it's. So how do you learn things about Lionel Messi or LeBron James? I would like to use a famous football player, but I haven't watched football since 2000.
This is Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, I know who that is. Brett Favre. How do you know things about these people? Or Michael Jordan. I'm originally from Chicago, and when I was traveling abroad and I mentioned Chicago, they'd say, Michael Jordan, the Bulls. How do you know about these things? It's not just people telling you stuff or reading things that people have written down, because writing is just another form of verbal communication, right? Yeah?
Like a reputable source, like a source that in the past has been right, so you can now use it in the future.
Topps trading cards. Brett Favre had 27 RBIs and
You're almost there.
Is that reputable? But still, that reputable source, this is something that people are writing, right? So is there any other way that we can come to know anything besides the stuff that people tells us?
Seeing it with your own eyes.
Seeing it with your own eyes. So you watch some basketball and you see LeBron James. Is it Allen Iverson? Someone posted a video of some guy shooting baskets before March Madness thing. And he was like sinking everyone and shooting all from around the court. He didn't miss one. It's possible that that was digitally altered. You could use some forensic software to see if that may or may not be the case. But you can learn a lot from watching things yourself, right? So we can learn things by hearing other people talk, like you're listening to me right now. You can learn things by watching. What have you guys learned from me already?
You like statistics.
Well, I like statistics. I told you that. What have you learned about me that I haven't told you?
You like holding something in your hand.
Water.
Dang
I like holding something in my hand. Okay. Anything else? Energetic, yeah. So at one university, people used to call me Professor Nitro, which I also thought was acceptable. I am energetic, right? Someone didn't have to tell you that. You observed it with your own eyes. Let's see, what else? I know my middle name is Lynn. Probably someone told you that. I have a dad. Someone probably told you that. You probably learned a little bit about biology and procreation, and that, at least generally speaking, offspring have dads. I'm hungry. That's really cool. I like this one for a minute. How do you know?
Your body is telling you.
Your body is telling you. There's something innate inside you. It's not like you're observing. Well, actually, as someone who also teaches sensation and perception, I would say that you are observing your internal states. But you can't like see the ghrelin. Oh, my ghrelin levels are increasing and my leptin levels are decreasing. I must be hungry. But instead you feel it, right? You get this hangry feeling because it's almost 2 and you need that mid-afternoon snack. No, so there's some things you observe, like most of us think about observing with our eyes or ears, and we learn that way. There are some things that we learn by, I guess it's also through observation, right? Because you have to observe someone telling you that your grandpa was whatever and your mom was whatever and blah, blah. So there's observation in there too, but it's a different type. It's not just direct observation, it's indirect. You're taking it from somewhere else, right? And then there are also these observations of internal states. You know these things almost innately, right? Wow, what is that? Oh, I'm hungry. And even before you have words to express the thought that I am hungry right now, you express that in other ways, like, no parents in this room? Yeah, right? You express that. Dad. Right pedal is gas, left pedal is brakes in a standard automatic vehicle. Wow, I like that. That's like me. That's getting complex. Because when I write, I used to like to make simple questions. Like, what's a good multiple choice question? Whatever. But this addition type thing, this is what science has done. This is true in this case, except where this, blah. Yeah. Okay, so how would a person know this? They can drive. So they have, maybe they were taught, so they have some other people telling them things, but I mean, imagine if you got in a car and you were told that right is gas and left is brakes, go. And you hit the right and nothing happened. And you hit the left and you lurched forward, you learned something, right? Your knowledge would potentially change. I know how to play Pokemon and kick butt. Someone knows how to kick butt? I know the difference between an independent and dependent variable. Okay. Who knows the difference between an independent and a dependent variable?
An independent variable is something that the researcher controls, and the dependent variable is the outcome of the test. Pretty much the same.
Pretty much the same. You have to have a different conception. I would almost guarantee that you would not have used those exact words.
I would have said an independent variable is, well, yeah, something the experimenter manipulates, and then the dependent variable depends on the independent variable, so yeah, it's the outcome.
How do you know this? Professor Timmerman, bless her. That's a pretty darn good definition. A pretty darn good definition. Dr. Timmerman! No, Dr. Timmerman and I have disagreed on a number of issues, and that's just fine. So, no, science is this collaborative enterprise where people disagree, and based on the disagreement, different people do things differently to try to uncover knowledge, to try to uncover what really is and really is not. Who else takes issue with that definition of an independent variable as the variable that an experimenter controls? No, just me. What things are related to child abuse? Low income. I would argue that low income is a predictor of child abuse. I was actually going for child abuse as a predictor of something else, but I didn't give you enough information, which is why adding on extra stuff is valuable. What does child abuse predict?
Or grades.
Or grades. So kids that are abused are more likely, right? It's not a, oh, you were abused, you are doomed to not get straight A's. You were abused, you are doomed to have low self-esteem. But child abuse can be linked with low self-esteem. Child abuse can be linked with low grades. What type of a variable is child abuse and low grades? Are those variables? Child abuse, low grades.
Well, there could be a third variable.
There could be a third variable, but that's getting way more complex
Okay,
than we
so-
need to for a first class.
That's a good one, because it's possible that the low grades are what's causing the
The sophistication I did not expect. And it's also possible that the low income is also the source of the low grade, because on the low, if you've got low income and you're not getting, the right nutrients, your brain's just not going to be cranking as much, and you're going to potentially have problems paying attention and getting your grades, right? But aside from that, imagine just abuse by itself and low grades by itself. Is one independent? Is one dependent? Or are they both? What are they?
Usually both independent, because you can choose to abuse your child, choose not to, and you can choose to do good in school or not to.
So, independent variable has something to do with choice. So this goes well with your sort of conception. I'm the experimenter. I have the choice. I'm going to smack you up. You're okay. Smack you up. Yeah. So I can control that, right? But in research looking at child abuse and grades, emotional stability, anything like that, do the experimenters go out and abuse people? No. Why not? There's an ethical problem. We're going to talk about ethics this semester too. So, what does that mean about abuse? What type of variable is that? A pre-existing variable?
You can't really manipulate that one.
Yeah.
So it might be in different levels for each household. You can't say like this person's like slightly abused.
You could say that.
Well, maybe.
She wasn't abused at all. He was abused like crazy. He was slightly abused, and she was abused more often than not.
It's
So
just,
that,
yeah, it's just really hard to manipulate though, because if you can't ethically beat the crap out of someone, like, how do you measure abuse? And some of it could be verbal, some of it could be
so there's a question of how do you measure abuse, and different types of abuse, right? Verbal, physical, whatever. So we've got different types of abuse, but how could you measure that? How could you measure verbal abuse? Monitoring. So we could install like cameras and audio devices in people's homes? Could. Is that going to fly?
Probably
No.
change their behavior if you
Yeah, it's probably going to change their behavior a whole bunch. right? So it's probably not going to be a great way to measure.
And also, if you're documenting the abuse, what if you're studying it?
Yeah, but
Like,
it's not.
you're watching a child get beat up, and you're like, oh, that's interesting, I'm gonna write a paper about it. I would call the cops.
And so that's an interesting point that you make, and some of the ethical, or I guess I shouldn't say ethical, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, it is an ethical. So if you are a teacher, a counselor, a psychologist, and you learn about someone is being abused, you're required by law to report that. And in the case of experimental context, if you know that someone is posing an imminent danger to someone else, as you would be in a situation like that, you'd be required to report that, so people probably wouldn't want to participate. So how can you find out? Can you?
You might have to go off record.
Yeah, self-reporting.
Self-reporting. So we could ask people, how would you figure out whether someone was verbally abused with self-reporting?
Interview.
You can interview them, okay? Go ahead.
Well, but you could lie to your kids, were you abused as a child?
What do you mean?
Did your parents hate you for no reason?
No, they always have a reason. Okay, so what follow-up questions do we have? Is that enough? They hit you for a reason, abused.
No, they have reasons.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Adjust. What was just?
The kid was walking across the room, and I was playing Halo online, and they tripped over the cord, and they pulled out my console. And I took the kid, he's like 3 years old, I took him and I like whack against the wall. I had a reason for doing that. Abuse? No, he had a reason.
No, not that.
How do you know? So he asked me, did they hit me? And I asked him to assess verbal abuse, but I think he got verbal confused with physical, but that's okay.
You need specific definitions.
Like what? Go ahead.
Of verbal abuse.
Yeah, I'm your participant. Question.
Were you spoken to in a way that caused emotional distress?
Yes.
Under what conditions?
What do you mean?
What would...
I mean, so I have kids. I have a daughter. And I told her this morning that she couldn't play the computer because she was using my chair. And I told her, you need to get another chair because I have to work. And she's like, and she stood in front of the computer for like 15 minutes. And she could have got another chair, but she wanted mine. So I told her brother, who was asking to play the computer, that, yeah, okay, she hasn't played in 15 minutes, go ahead. That caused her emotional distress. Is that abuse? It's funny, because this thing that we're talking about right now, does anyone know the term for this? It starts with an O, ends with an N. Operationalization. We're operationalizing or defining the operations that are needed to measure and manipulate something. So if we want to measure verbal abuse, we need to ask questions like, were you ever spoken to in a way that caused you distress, right? But there are lots of things that can be distressing. Like if I got a call right now and someone told me that my daughter died, they might actually be talking in a way that's very soothing. Oh, I'm so sorry. But I would be distressed, right? That's not abuse. Oh. Anyway, the point with the abuse and the whatever that outcome was that a lot of times the independent variable is thought of as to be the effector variable, or the variable that causes change in some other variable. And one of the best ways to learn about change is by using experiments and by manipulating that independent variable. But depending on who you're talking to, maybe Dr. Timmerman would disagree, but I would say that child abuse, even though I'm not manipulating it, would be an independent variable because it is leading to changes in some outcome variable, the dependent variable. Let's see. All right, so this evening, check online. You should have reading for next class. We will talk about truth and knowledge and how do we get it and all that jazz and a little bit more too. Have a good one.